What's going on, people? Anthony Williams coming at you with another video, another important message, another important success principle that you need in order to achieve the things that you want in your life. Today I want to go over a very important topic, and you may not have actually thought about it, but how do you project yourself onto the world? Okay? We're going to get right into it. How do you project yourself onto the world? And what exactly am I talking about? I'm talking about your self-image. And what exactly is the self-image? In the book right here, The New Psycho-Cybernetics, I want to go over some things and some ideals and some important thoughts on your self-image and why is it so important on how you see yourselves and how you project yourself onto the world. You see, most people don't actually know because they're not in a state of self-remembering or self-observation of themselves. So they go through life on autopilot, and if you're going through life on autopilot, then you don't know the results that you're getting in your life. Okay, you may be trying to achieve a result, but you may not actually be going in the right direction because you have old patterns, you have old habits in your subconscious mind, okay, that are holding you back. And what is the subconscious mind? Let's go into what exactly the subconscious mind. In this book right here, Psycho-Cybernetics, it talks about the subconscious mind not being a mind at all, actually. That what the subconscious mind is a group of impressions, a group of everything, the subconscious mind, everything that has happened in your life, the good, the bad, everything, for your mind to be able to pull information from, for you to be able to achieve a result. In this book they call it the success mechanism, the goal achieving success mechanism, which they call the subconscious mind. So in this actual subconscious mind, in this layer of the mind, which they really don't call it a mind at all, but which is a mechanism, like you would have a bird that would actually navigate, because of instinct. So in the book it talks about this same instinct within inside of our own minds, that are these impressions that we have, that this instinct draws from. So if these instincts are actually, lack instincts or fear or failure or anything that when we were a child, if you tell a child you're dumb, you're stupid, and continuously to repeat that over and over again to a child, that will become stuck within the subconscious mind. Now, as the person gets older, what ends up happening is that actual impression is stimulated either on purpose or not on purpose, okay? And this person doesn't know why, as an adult, that they're feeling a certain way, or they have this deep feeling of shame or remorse about themselves. Now, realizing that that impression has been activated many times through adult life, and they continuously go on throughout their lives with that feeling of inferiority or that feeling of not being good enough because of what's in their subconscious mind. So, the point is, how do we actually change this? How do we actually get down into the level of knowing what exactly is there? Okay, the first step is actually not running away from your feelings, your emotions, and who you think you are. Okay, you have to start to confront not only your feelings and your emotions and who you think you are, but actually start to see and to be in a state of self-observation. I say self-observation. What is self-observation? The ability to be able to pay attention to your own thoughts, your own feelings, and your own emotions. Okay? That's self-observation. And that's a state that you have to develop. It's not automatic because normally we're on autopilot. We're stimulated by our external senses. What we smell, what we see, what we taste, what we touch. All these things we are stimulated by. So, how do we actually start to develop this inner self, this inner watchfulness of ourselves, of self-observation, of paying attention to our thoughts, paying attention to our emotions, paying attention to our feelings? How do we develop this? Okay? The point is not to actually project outside, but to start to pay attention inside. And this is how we start to do it. We actually start to pay attention to our thoughts. You can pay attention to a thought because you have to think a thought in order for you to say it. So, and before you actually say it, you actually, look at the thought in your mind. So we actually start to not pay so much more attention to the external things, but more so to the internal things. And seeing that feeling of, as I used an example earlier, seeing that feeling of inferiority and saying, okay, I have to start to notice this thing in myself. And you start to recognize it. You say, okay, why is this coming up? what is around me that's bringing this feeling and this emotion up of inferiority or not being good enough. And you may not actually go towards, say you were 7 years old, and you may not get to it right then and there, but as you start to pay attention to it more and more, you can start to reveal more of these hidden triggers within inside of yourselves that they bring up. So as you start to actually develop this sense of self-observation, what ends up happening is that you can start to draw more information. You start to see exactly when it comes out, and it starts to hold less power. Once you're aware of something, it holds less power for you. So that's the sense of self-observation and actually developing a healthier self-image about yourself. Okay, self-observation, that's the first step. You can't change something you don't know anything about. So you have to become self-aware of it. Okay, that's the first step. The second step is there's a law in nature. The good always overcomes the negative. Okay, so I'm talking about substitution here. Substituting, let's say if you have a bad day and you're in a bad state in your mindset, you feel hatred. Okay, now what's the opposite of hatred? Which is love. Okay, so if you automatically substitute that feeling of hatred for love, okay, it automatically can overpower, but you have to have enough, as I say again, self-observation in order to sustain that feeling and that emotion of love. So you substitute the negative for the positive. That's the second step. And the third step I think that we can use is meditation, okay, which is any form of focusing the mind on one thing. Okay, why do I say that? Because as you focus the mind on one thing, let's just say that you focus your mind on love as opposed to hate, as I used in the earlier analogy. So you're focusing your mind on love. You start to form, and in quantum mechanics, What the Bleep Do We Know, the movie that came out, What the Bleep Do We Know, quantum mechanics. It talks about forming new pathways within your mind. And the only way for you to actually form a new pathway in your mind is that you think that if the thought isn't already there, you actually start to, focus that thought. And as I use meditation, you actually start to just focus on that one thought of, let's just say, love. And you use imagery, okay? The power of the mind to image, that's what the mind does. It images things. And if you focus your mind on that one image of love, let's just say you have an image of punching somebody in the face, but in the opposite of that, you don't think of that. You think of, being kind to that person, speaking kind to that person. You keep that image in your mind. You constantly go over and over again for a period of time. Let's just say 15 minutes one day, then 15 minutes another day. What you do is you start to form a pathway where it's easier for that thought to come up without you having to actually draw it up. It's a natural state it becomes a habit. So a desire, if you have a desire to perform an act of love, then you perform the thought. So the desire, the thought, and then the habit. The habit of it. So as you start to do these things and start to put these things into action, you start to form a better self-image of yourself. But those are all the things that I believe that we need to do on a daily basis in order to get a healthier self-image, because you can't outperform your self-image. And a lot of people, the thing about it is that they're constantly, projecting outside of themselves. And that's the problem sometimes. Like, we're so fascinated, we're so hypnotized by the outer world that we forget about our inner world. And the inner world is what's important. The inner world is what brings happiness and peace. If you can actually go within inside yourself to perform your inner self and to actually project from inside out as opposed to outside in. Stephen R. Covey talks about your circle of influence. And the only one thing that you do have influence in this life is on your own thoughts and how you feel and how you perceive situations outside of yourselves. That's the only thing that you have power of. So you can't control outside, but you can control outside because you're controlling your inside. So it's a very important principle of your self-image and how to actually get a healthier self-image. But if you haven't picked up that book by Maxwell Maltz, Help the Self-Image, and to study those type of things on achieving goals in life and success, definitely do so, because it's very important that you have a healthier self-image of yourself. And to know exactly, where you're going in life, and start to pay attention more so internally as opposed to externally. Those are where most of the problems start to lie within individuals that become, they have anger problems, they have, nervousness, they have depression, they have all these things about themselves because they're so focused outward as opposed to inward. So today, let's just focus inward. Let's get a healthier self-image. Pick up the book. Start to develop your mindset. Okay? That's another important thing, to develop your mindset. Read important information. Read information that you may not be familiar with so that you can get a healthier self-image of yourself, so that you can actually start to achieve your goals, because like I said before, you cannot outperform your self-image. Okay? That's just point blank. You can't do it. There's no way you'll be able to outperform your self-image. How you see yourself is how you're going to project onto the world. So most of the problems that we have in life has nothing to do with the external things or anybody have anything against us. It's everything that we're projecting from the inside out. So today, let's focus on the self-image. Connect with me here on my page, myjobkiller.com. I'm bringing you relevant information, important information that's key not only to your success, but to you accumulating anything that you want in life. Riches are more than just money. Riches come from inside, and like I said, you project it outside. So let's get a healthier self-image. Connect with me here on myjobkiller.com, and I'll talk soon.